All right. The purpose of this video is to give you, if you were absent, a little bit of an overview of what we did in class, like background information to our stock market competition, kind of why we're doing it, how you can get set up, and then how you can actually start buying some stocks. So first things first, if you're not familiar, the stock market's a place where buyers and sellers come together to be able to buy portions of companies, right? Companies oftentimes reach a point where they decide that they want to offer up part ownership of their company in exchange for money. And these pieces of a company are basically sold in what we call like shares, right? So the way stocks work, like this is a really oversimplification, is that if you look at step one, companies issue stock, which is really like a piece of paper that makes you a part owner in a company, even if on a super small scale, right? Because it's a way for them to raise money. So when you take your company public, you give people an opportunity to buy a portion of your company. You're giving up some ownership of your company. Like, why would you allow people to buy part ownership of your company? Because if you look at step number two, like this allows you to get money from people. Like when you initially put your company up, that's called like your initial public offering, like your IPO, and people buy like a portion of your company, right? Like in small little itty bitty increments, right? That money that you get from those people, like you give up some of your company and they give you money, right? You can then basically, if you look at step number three, use that money to grow your company, right? To expand your operations, to build a new factory, hire more employees, right? This gives you upfront like money. And the reason why shareholders, right, basically the people that buy the stock in the company want to do this is because as your company does better and grows and expands, the value of that piece of the company you own, the individual stock, will like raise in value, will increase in value, and then you have the opportunity to sell that to somebody else and make a profit. So you invest in the company. What's in it for you is you make hopefully money in the long term because your piece of the company will be worth more. And the company uses your money initially to expand their operations and to grow out their business. So it's really a win-win for all parties involved. So like if you just look at some of the initial like companies, like if you would have bought in at the initial like offering of like some of the biggest companies, and if you would have put $1,000 down on Facebook when it first went public, that would now be worth more than $3,000. If you bought $1,000 worth of Google stock in 2004, like you're talking about a substantial return on your investment. It's now worth over $15,000. All the way to the end, if you bought $1,000 worth of Amazon stock in 1997, like that's now worth the equivalent of almost $500,000, right? So like you've made an investment in that company. That company has grown since you initially bought into it, and obviously now you have the ability to make some sort of profit when you try to resell that stock to somebody else, right? All right. In terms of the relationship to like AP government, we've been talking a lot about like the economic responsibilities of the government recently, and the stock market is definitely regulated by the federal government. The Securities and Exchange Commission is part of the government that is responsible for like regulating the stock market to make sure everything's done fairly. One of the things they guard against, what the graphic is on the right hand side, is they try to guard against insider trading. It's illegal to buy stock if you are acting on a tip that is not available to like the general public, right? If you have a friend that works for a company and they give you top secret information about them launching a product, and you buy stock in that company before the product is launched, technically that's a federal crime and you're committing insider trading. Besides regulating the stock market, the government also, through their actions, can influence the confidence that people have in the economy and the performance of the stock market. Right? If people are concerned about the way the government is handling the economy or certain decisions they're making, it could adversely or negatively affect the performance of the stock market. If people are confident in the abilities of the government to manage things in the economy, then that could result in sort of like a stock market and companies that perform better on the stock market. So oftentimes the stock market is really a gauge of like the confidence that people have in the government as a whole, right? So that's like a quick crash course of like what the stock market is. It's this exchange place where you simply can buy portions of companies as an investment, and hopefully those investments make you money, like in the long term. So we're going to do a competition this year where you're going to follow the directions that are on the classroom page for the stock market registration instructions. We're going to use a website called howthemarketworks.com. In this competition, you're theoretically going to be given $100,000 to invest. And the rules are that you must purchase stock in at least 10 companies, right? So you have to divide up your $100,000 in any way you want, but you have to purchase stock in at least 10 companies. No share of stock can be purchased that isn't at least valued at $5. So if you come across a company whose stock is currently selling for $1.25 a share, it's not going to let you do that. You may not sell your stock this year, right? We are in this for the long term. One of the reasons why we're doing this is I want you to see how like current events influence the stock market, and how the stock market goes up and down based on events that happen in the country, what government decides to do with certain situations. So we're going to use the stock market as a tool to see how government decisions have real time impact on the economy. So whatever stock you buy, you're keeping. And you'll see how to look at your bank account in a second, but you are not permitted to have more than $500 left in your overall bank account. You'll get extra credit for each market period that you finish ahead of me. And if you are the top earner in the class for the entire duration of the year, we'll check this in June. You'll get a pretty decent reward for that as well. All right, it's important for you to know that all stocks are listed on the stock market by what we call their ticker symbol. So, for example, Microsoft is MSFT, right, on like most on the stock market, but on most of the sites you're going to use, and on the site that we're going to purchase this fake stock in, you need to know the stock market symbols of your favorite companies. So I've included a few of these websites that you can type in the name of a company that you're thinking about buying stock in, get the symbol, learn a little bit more about the company, and then I'll show you how to buy stock. So if you take a look at like this website, this is one of the ones it's linked to. If you would like to buy stock in Tesla, you simply type in Tesla into the search bar. And basically, here we go. Tesla is listed right here. And the symbol is TSLA. So if you want to see, right, how much some of the recent information about Tesla stock is, the last price of Tesla is 193.05, right? It opened today at 191.78, right? And it shows you that over the last year, it's been as high as $402.67, right? So like that you can do a little research about that. Also, if you go back, it allows you to look at like the monthly changes in Tesla stock, so you can see like over the course of like the last bunch of years, and then even in like the months of the year, it shows you how high and how low the stock has been. So this stock has definitely gone down a little bit over the last several months. So that's something you need to keep an eye on. But let's say you do want to buy a stock in Tesla, right? So you're going to follow the directions posted on the classroom page on how to register with the website that we're going to use. And once you register, it'll take you to a site that looks like this. You should see that I'm doing this example for period one, but if you register correctly, it should say my name, AP Gov 2022-23 contest, and then whatever period you're in for my class, right? So when it also tells you like your current amounts that you have as this ticker symbol goes across, that this is the amount of money that you currently have available to you, which may be a little bit more than $100,000 because it gives you some interest in money that you have left over in your account. So when you're ready to purchase a stock, you simply go over here to make a trade, and it asks you to put like a symbol in, right? So we just looked on the previous website that Tesla is TSLA. That's how it's listed on the stock market. So I'm going to put in TSLA, right? Whoops, spelled it wrong. TSLA. It comes up, right there it is. So I click it, and it gives me a little information about Tesla stock. So again, I can kind of see just today how it's gone down, right, significantly just throughout the course of the day, right, since the stock market opened up this morning. So again, this is the current price of Tesla stock, which is 193.04, and that's down $1.66 since the day started. Just today, it's been as low as high as 196.25, and it's been as low as 191.60. So for every share of stock that I buy, for every piece of Tesla I buy, it's going to cost me $193.04. So for the sake of doing this, let's just say that I want to buy one share of Tesla stock, right? So that's going to cost me $193.04. Down here, I'm going to click to preview order. And it's actually, right, let's see, it's basically telling me it's going to cost me $192.96, right? So basically that's what it's going to cost, right? So if I'm like, I want to go through with it, I click to confirm order. If I want to change the order, like I want to do 2 shares, or I want to do 10 shares, right? I can change it, or I can cancel it, right? So for the sake of doing this, I'm going to click to confirm the order. And it basically tells me it has purchased like one share of stock. One of the negatives of using this site is that it doesn't always give you like a real updated look at your portfolio. It takes a little time for like your stock purchase to like register. So one of the things that I would ask you to do is, as you buy stock, you actually keep track of how much money you have left, because it might not be a real time update of how much you have. Eventually, when the stock registers, you can click on My Portfolio, and it will show you like the stocks that you purchased. Right, one share of Tesla stock, right, $193.04. So you're going to go through and you're going to do that, right, until you spend a majority of your $100,000, right. And one of the things that you can do is, if you look at like your contests, right, it'll allow you to actually see where you're at with like your rankings, and you can compare yourself to everybody else in the class. And like we'll go over in a bunch of class too. So follow the directions on how to register to be part of the game. And then once you're part of the game, I need you to follow the directions I just went over on how you actually buy individual stocks.